Indonesia, through the Food and Drug Monitoring Agency, has kicked off a 3-day virtual forum on the establishment of an independent regulatory body for food and drugs in Palestine, in an effort to bolster the Middle Eastern nation's resilience in weathering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. A part of the South Cooperation Program, the forum runs from Monday to Wednesday and comprises comprehensive online training sessions in which relevant stakeholders from Indonesia and Palestine are expected to exchange knowledge about the various prerequisites and challenges of forming the regulatory body. The training covers wide-ranging topics of interests including traditional medicine, health supplements, cosmetics, food, and laboratory testing. The leader of Ethiopia's dissident Tigray region has said that his people are ready to die defending their homeland, rejecting Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's ultimatum that they surrender within 72 hours. Premier Abiy launched a military campaign against the Tigray People's Liberation Front on November 4th, accusing it of attacking 2 federal military camps in another region, as well as defying and seeking to destabilize his government. The federal army says its forces are within 60 kilometers of Mekelle, the Tigrayan capital and seat of the TPLF, ahead of a threatened all-out bombardment to the city of 500,000 people. President-elect Joe Biden is set to formally introduce his national security team to the nation, building out a team of Obama administration alumni that signals his shift away from the Trump administration's America First policies and a return to U.S. engagement on the global stage. The picks for national security and foreign policy posts include former Secretary of State John Kerry to take the lead on combating climate change. Kerry and several other people set to join the upcoming administration will be discussed by Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris during a Tuesday afternoon event. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is set to visit Tokyo, marking the first such high-level trip since Japan picked a new leader in September, and will come amid mounting concerns over Beijing's assertiveness in the region. Minister Wang could make a courtesy call on Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, who has so far sought to balance Japan's deep economic reliance on China with addressing security worries, including Beijing's claims over disputed East China Sea isles. While Premier Suga has stood clear of the harsh anti-China rhetoric used by Japan's ally, the United States, he has moved to counter its influence by deepening ties with Australia and making his first overseas trip to Vietnam and Indonesia. French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said he was launching a probe into clashes that broke out after police cleared out a new migrant camp in Paris's Place de la République, adding that the images of these scuffles were shocking. Police used tear gas as they dismantled a new migrant camp in the centre of Paris, set up to house hundreds of refugees evacuated from makeshift suburban shelters without being relocated. Volunteers had helped set up around 500 blue tents at the Place de la République in the heart of the French capital early on Tuesday, which were quickly filled by migrants, the majority from Afghanistan. Around an hour later, police arrived to dismantle the camp. Taiwan's president inaugurated the production of domestically made submarines Tuesday in the southern city of Kaohsiung, in a step forward for the island's defense strategy at a time of elevated tensions with China. President Tsai Ing-wen had made boosting Taiwan's indigenous defense capacity a central pillar of her defense policy. Recently, she relaunched the military aviation industry with the production of new trainer jets and has pushed for the development of more sophisticated systems by utilizing the island's high-tech industries. France is expected to loosen its coronavirus restrictions on Tuesday, as the boss of a major airline said proof of vaccination will likely become the only way people can fly in a post-pandemic world. Hopes over COVID-19 vaccines have given a boost to various wary citizens across the globe, but the disease remains rampant and world leaders are urging people to be patient. French President Emmanuel Macron will address the country currently under lockdown to announce a reworking of the rules following a drop in nationwide infections. President Macron's televised speech comes a day after British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, thanks to a major vaccine breakthrough, the escape route is in sight from the COVID-19 crisis. India said on Tuesday it had recorded 37,975 new infections of coronavirus, with the daily increase tallied by Reuters remaining below the 50,000 mark for more than 2 weeks, having peaked in September. The health ministry said the latest increase brought the total number of cases to 9.18 million. Deaths rose by 480, with the total now at 134,218. India has the second highest number of cases in the world after the United States. Philippine officials say about 60 million Filipinos are being targeted for vaccination against the coronavirus next year at a cost of more than $1.4 billion to develop considerable immunity among a majority of Filipinos. Carlito Galvez Jr., who oversees government efforts to secure the vaccines, said on Tuesday the negotiations were underway with 4 Western and Chinese pharmaceutical companies, including US-based Pfizer and China's Sinovac Biotech, to secure the vaccines early next year. He said one company based in the UK, AstraZeneca, can commit to supply up to 20 million vaccines. Millions of Americans expect to face eviction by the end of the year, adding to the suffering inflicted by the coronavirus pandemic raging across the U.S. According to a survey by the U.S. Census Bureau, about 5.8 million adults say they are somewhat to very likely face eviction or foreclosure in the next 2 months. That accounts for a third of the 17.8 million adults in households that are behind on rent or mortgage payments. The UK government announced Tuesday travellers arriving in England from abroad face a shorter spell in quarantine from mid-December if they test negative for coronavirus 5 days after their arrival. It hopes the new rules will revive the ailing travel industry, particularly aviation, which has suffered a steep drop in ridership because of restrictions imposed to fight the pandemic. Travellers arriving in England by air, ferry or train from December 15th will be able to end their quarantine if they test negative for COVID-19 at least 5 days after their arrival. Millions of Americans appear to be disregarding public health warnings and traveling ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, likely fueling an alarming surge in coronavirus infections before a series of promising new vaccines are expected to become widely available. Although fewer in number than last year, US travelers were flocking to airports and highways against the advice of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the US Surgeon General, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert. As US infections of the highly contagious respiratory virus continued to spread swiftly, hitting a new record of 168,000 new cases per day on average, many travelers expressed equal parts of determination and dread.